South Bend Mayor James Mueller joins us this morning. We appreciate you stopping by this morning. Thanks very much for being here. I want to start with the South Bend Police Department investigation of that body camera interaction between a police officer and that 14-year-old girl outside McDonald's. It went viral a couple of weeks ago. There was a news conference talking about it. How close are we before the department completes its internal investigation about how this officer handled that scenario?
So the Use of Force Review Committee has already convened on this incident and determined there was no violation of use of force policy. There is still ongoing investigation whether other policies and procedures may have been violated during this incident, but in terms of the issue at the core of this, the use of force, the Use of Force Review Committee found no violation.
Is there any indication, first of all, do you agree with that assessment?
Well, this is a tough job, and I understand the frustration from the community. You see an image of a resident, a use of force on a resident. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody likes that, especially when it's a younger resident. But at the same time, the reason why our officers are able to use force and why there's a policy and all of these things around it is because they have a job to maintain order. So this was a call for service. And from what the officer knows, you don't have the benefit of hindsight to know there was no threat, there was no, there weren't these issues, there were no weapons involved. You don't know that going into the call, and the 911 call is made, you respond, and you encounter, the suspect, or given the description, tries to question, resists. And the officers need to get control of the situation. Right. And this was a lawful questioning. From a call from service, from a 911 call. And, you could see, when you're armchair policing, you could say, if he didn't grab the backpack and she ran out in the street and got hit by a car, sure. The armchair police person would say, well, why didn't you just grab the backpack and protect her from getting hit by the car? Sure. So that it's easy to second guess from the comfort of your home, but it's a tough job. And so that's why we have these processes, we have these policies, and the Use of Force Review Committee found no violation.
Well, let me ask you this. Have you had any contact with the family at all, or the family's lawyer? There was a talk, the Black Lives Matter came out and said compensation needs to go to this family. Any discussion about that?
No, and the city will fully and vigorously defend against inflammatory, unfounded claims.
Okay, and let me ask you one more question. Any responsibility on the child in this? I know she's a 14-year-old girl, but she's not 7. And I'm not trying to say that this girl is a fully mature adult trying to make responsible decisions. But does any responsibility land on the child in this scenario?
Well, I mean, here's the issue is, when there's a lawful questioning by an officer, whether you're black or white, whether you're old or young, you've got to comply with that. And so this situation escalated because of that resistance and the resistance to the officer and the lawful questioning. And so, obviously that's something that could have prevented this, had there been more cooperation from the teenager in this instance. But overall, the irony here is that the same officers that's under scrutiny for the use of force used his discretion to just return this teenager to the guardian, not take her into and put her into the system, the Juvenile Justice Center. And so, she narrowly escaped going into the system. She really needs, the community and the family, we need to figure out how to get her on a better track so that she doesn't end up into the system later on.
We're out of time, but there are several other questions I wanted to ask you about different topics as well. But one of them just came out. The president is now looking at deploying potentially 1,700 ICE agents through various states around the country. Indiana is one of them, talking about not just ICE-related issues, but also National Guard members for crime issues. Has the city of South Bend been contacted at all by the White House or the Pentagon about the possibility of National Guard coming here? And if so, would you welcome that?
We have not heard any plans from the federal government to come here, either in the ICE capacity or other than the routine, normal, and not this, whatever you want to call this surge. So we have not heard plans of a surge here in South Bend, but we will definitely be on the lookout for that.
Okay, South Bend Mayor James Mueller, I'm getting the hard rap. We appreciate your time. Thanks for stopping by at 7:19. Thanks for watching. Here's another story you may like, and subscribe to the WSBT 22 YouTube channel.